You know the drill. You buy the ticket, you take the ride. Whatever. And welcome back to another tired morning of the Morning Buzz with Jimmy. I've been moving for like 2 weeks now, and I'm exhausted. Anyway, we're back. I don't even know what episode this is. We're in double digits. I can't believe we made it this far, but I'm happy we are, and I'm happy for everybody. Our subscribers keep going up and stuff, so I appreciate everybody out there who keeps tuning in and whatnot. So as long as you do, we'll keep doing this. Today, we're gonna go up north to Vancouver and talk to Morgan Farrell of the band Blacked Out. Nick, can you bring Morgan in? Hey, man.
Yo,
How's it going?
pretty good, Jimmy. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man. After after technical difficulties and looking for a sweatshirt that didn't exist, and I had you running around like crazy.
All good, my friend. All good.
Oh, good. So, how's life treating you up there? Because I know it's, that thing's going down.
Yeah, man, life's treating me pretty good up here. The pandemic is just kind of putting along, doing its thing, but everybody's starting to get vaccinated now, and looks like everybody's sort of expecting shows and live music, things to just sort of be back to normal by the fall. So
Yeah, that's what
yeah,
everything here is September-ish like looking.
yeah. So we actually have a couple shows booked for October,
Oh,
so
good.
fingers crossed that actually happens. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, man. We're just
dude.
we're just staying laying low and trying to stay safe and do the thing.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I watched the a video for Wasted Breath, you guys gave me like this Pennywise, like just I like, dude, so much energy. Like I
Right
love it.
on. Thanks,
Like,
man.
yeah, dude. Like I don't know. When I always say I listen to Pennywise, like I want to just go in a room and smash shit and tear stuff up, and like I totally got that energy from you guys, and like
Sick,
I love it.
sick. Thanks. I appreciate that. We the drummer and I were friends from high school,
Really?
and yeah, we were in a band together we grew up in the East Coast in Nova Scotia,
Okay.
and then we both moved out to Western Canada at the same time and started Blacked Out, and we just said, you know, we didn't really have many. We didn't have a definite plan or goal in mind, and we've kind of done everything wrong really the entire trip. But
Hmm.
but the one thing that the one driving force was just that we always wanted to play music that was fun for us and that we liked. And then the older that we get, we keep writing music, and one of the metrics for me is just like, would 16-year-old me like this? And then if the
And that's
answer
a
is
good way to
yes, then
look
we
at it
can,
for sure.
yeah. So, 'cause, the older you get, you chill out a little bit sometimes.
You
And
do, and I find it like if even for me, like I don't know, there's definitely I don't find as many bands as I did when I was 16. You know what I mean? And bands that stick with me like they did when I was 16. Like
yeah,
now.
because when you were 16, you hadn't really heard of that many bands yet. So there was a whole world to
Y- yeah,
explore.
yeah. And once you've dug through and stuff, it's just you know what I mean. But the ones I don't know, they're the ones that stick with you. Like I said, you guys just gave me that just raw, like go in a
Nice,
room
man.
and yeah. You guys are on a record label too, right?
Yeah. So this last record um, is on Thousand Islands Records, which is like a pretty like pop punk, skate punk label out of Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they just released Chaser's new album.
Oh, they did?
Vel-
Okay, because that's
Velvet.
blowing up, down here, man, like
Yeah, it's a pretty good record for sure.
yeah.
Really, a couple of songs really remind me a lot of like old No Use for a Name. Not like the old original, uh, but No Use for a Name, sort of like when they were in their sweet spot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Some of those tracks are just great, like just well written songs and great melodies. And
Yeah, because I honestly, I think I'm the only person that hasn't reviewed that. Well, I don't really do like album reviews, but like every person that like it does a podcast and album review, like that's been the number one thing, man, like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. And I've
There,
listened, it's great.
I don't know any of the guys, but we're friends on Facebook with a couple of them, and obviously we're on the same label and stuff. And just how I see them sort of interact in the online world, they seem like great, friendly, positive people, and I think that's like infectious, right? Like
For
that
sure,
rubs
man.
off on when if you're just out in the world being nice, then good things are going to come back on you. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah, Chaser's on our label. Belvedere's new record's coming out on this Friday, I think, and
Okay.
yeah, so I don't know. Thousand Islands has a lot of like pretty awesome
Yeah.
bands.
Yeah,
So
I just wasn't really like I said, I had the name down, I just wasn't, you know what I mean? I hadn't heard of it, but I didn't really look when I was listening to that Chaser album, like any of the details or anything, because it was
yeah,
just streaming, you know what I mean?
well, I mean, I don't know if they're doing. I think they have the Chaser album for all of North America, but maybe just Canada. I don't know. Some labels like there'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
a American label, a Canadian label, and like a German label or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I'm pretty sure that Thousand Islands is doing Chaser for North America. I might be wrong. I don't know, but
Yeah, well, I'm not even gonna fact check you anyway, so it don't matter.
we'll go with that.
Yeah. So, you guys have shows and stuff? Like, have you been writing at all or anything, like, while you've been home, I guess?
Yeah. So when the pandemic first happened, I was home a lot. Didn't have a baby yet, so because our my wife and I decided right at the beginning of the pandemic, we had this idea of let's have a baby now while both of our bands, she's also in a band,
Oh,
and
cool.
both of our bands were not going to be touring or doing anything for a while. So we figured this is a great time to have a baby. And I don't know why we thought that because I remember we had a very like a specific conversation about it, and we thought that the pandemic would be over by the time he was born, but that is not how that happened. So,
No.
anyways, at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a lot more time on my hands because we were babyless, and so I wrote the better part of a new record. Um, but then just the COVID restrictions and stuff up here have prevented us from really being able to get in the jam room together. So I have all the songs written, you know,
Right.
program drums, everything's like ready to like everything's demoed, but we
Yeah.
haven't really been jamming on them together. So we went into the studio one day and banged out a song. So we have that song and we have an older song that that's never been released before that I think we're gonna put out on a 7 inch.
Oh, cool,
Just
man.
do the old one song on each side because they're both like 5 minute long songs. So
Yeah, man, and that's also like, I don't know, I always like grabbing stuff like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely like memorabilia and stuff like that from bands and merch and stuff, but like that 7 inch, the split, like, I'm always into those.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it'd be good just to get something released again and get some new songs out in the world, even if we haven't been able to. But yeah, yeah, I'm hoping to get like just just to get another release out in the world, and we have
Yes.
enough other songs that we can just eventually, hopefully, uh, in June or July, we'll actually be able to go get into the studio and bang out a new record and have something to actually have a tangible record to distribute at our shows once the fall rolls around and shows start happening again. So
Yeah, well, when was, Wasted Breath released?
March of 2020,
Mar
actually, right after the pandemic really kind of took off. We had March 27th was the release
Oh
date.
my goodness, man, like, you're the
Yeah.
3rd person I've had on that just, like, right, and just the wow.
Yeah, it was there. I mean, there's no playbook for releasing being a musician in a pandemic. And so when everything up here, at least, it was like St. Patrick's Day was like the day where the government said, okay, this is like we're shutting things down. And so that was March 14th, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, like 2 weeks later was our release date. So I talked to our label dad, Bruno. He was like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
we yeah, and so we just said, let's just go forward with it and hope for the best. And I would definitely not recommend releasing an album that close to the beginning of the pandemic. Um, if we should have maybe waited a bit, but it was in that window right at the beginning where like nobody knew, everybody was just freaking out and trying to figure out how to run their own lives, like how to get toilet paper and enough food, and so
Yeah.
everybody that was writing reviews and paying attention to the music industry like kind of completely stopped for a while. So we got a handful of reviews, and nothing was like negative really, but we definitely it was a weird time to release a record. Not a whole lot of attention was like,
Well, then no, and like
yeah,
I had a girlfriend at that time, and when it dropped or whatever, and when we were going back to work and stuff, I said, it's a damn shame we couldn't actually enjoyed like the first 2.5 weeks of that. I said because like the first 2.5 weeks, like nobody knew what was going. You know what I mean? You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know how contagious or anything this was. So you were just
no,
like looking for the next hopeful thing, and there was nothing really hopeful coming out. It was just
yeah,
worse and worse, and it was just like you were locked up, scared to death. But like,
yeah,
and then you said the whole toilet paper and all that situation, and it's just like, oh my goodness, like
yeah,
I can't.
yeah. I know it was a wild time for us. We had our album release, like we had a whole tour booked, so we were supposed to be in Calgary for our release show, and then we were touring with Belvedere across BC and back out here to the West Coast. So I think we had like a 10 shows in 11 days booked or something like that
Ugh.
for our like record release tour. And so naturally we had ordered a ton of merch, and we were sitting on boxes of records, and then we also were going out to Eastern Canada to do Quebec and Ontario like a couple months after that. And then I had just started working on some European dates for later in the fall. So all that just immediately just wiped right off. And then you know, I have this little studio room here, and it was like full, like floor to ceiling with boxes of merch. And
Yeah, it
so
it was great merch too, man. Like it is great merch. You know what I mean? I saw that stuff and I was like, holy! I'm like, this is some of the best band merch I've ever seen in my life. Like,
sick, man. I'm glad
dude,
you
hands down, like hands
glad you
down.
like
It's
that. We I just yeah, I didn't even really mean to. I just sort of made a couple posts because a couple people asked for some stuff. And then this is maybe like a couple months into the pandemic, and then in the whole thing it just like snowballed, and people just started ordering shit from me. So I made a lot of trips to the post office and mailed off, and I ended up selling most of our merch that was supposed to be our like album release tour merch.
yeah, no, that's
And we
great,
sold a
man.
ton of records, and we sold a ton of shirts and all the stuff. So luckily we kind of motored through a lot of it. But
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great too. Just like, I like the only stuff I've been buying is like band merch and stuff like that. Just to support, you know what I mean? Just
yeah, yeah.
like I
I
want,
think a- I think a lot of people just wanted to like show band support.
yeah,
People just wanted to say like, "Holy shit, you guys have no way of sustaining your band right now." So people were just trying to throw some money, even if they didn't like the shirts. They were like, "I'll buy one from you. You
yeah,
guys need some money."
yeah, and like
Yeah,
I was even like kind of the part of behind doing this show. Even was just kind of like keep this, keep these people relevant. You know what I mean? Just keep
yeah,
somebody talking whatever about it. Just I don't know because
yeah.
there's not a whole lot going on here. Like I think I'm going to see a band, The Filthy Lowdown, June 5th, but that'll be my first show since I saw a Real Big Fish March of 2020. Like
Holy
like
shit.
literally like 2 days before the whole shit thing broke out. Yeah,
Right
but
on.
I
I
used to be
toured
like,
with Real Big Fish years and years ago.
no kidding.
Yeah, my buddies were opening for them. It was Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish were co-headlining a tour
Yeah,
with the Flatliners when they first put out The Great Awake. I think that was the name of the album, the first
I
one
think
they
you're
had
right.
on Fat. And so yeah, it was my friends, the Real Deal out of Montreal. And so they were doing a cross Canada tour with Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish. So they asked me to be the merch guy. So I just hopped in the van with them, and then
How do
they
you
flew
say no
me.
to that, man?
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a great time. Yeah. Yeah. I think I got paid I think they gave me like a $10 a day per diem. and like paid for my flight home like that.
Yeah,
And I just got to like party for 2 weeks. So
yeah, but yeah, I would have done it, man, for sure.
it was a great time.
Yeah, that's really cool too. Like, the guys from Real Big Fish are definitely cool. They were with Big D and the Kids Table too. I never really listened to growing, and somehow I like they flew under the radar for me. And that's another good band I never picked up on until last year too. And I was like, huh,
Oh, right on.
yeah. So you have like another side project too, correct?
I've been
Well,
I've been
like,
part of a handful of
well,
different
yeah, you're like
projects.
in a bunch of stuff.
Um, the Blacked Out's like, it's like my baby.
Right.
Like, I'm the lead singer and I write most of the music and stuff. And our other guitar player, Lee, he also writes. So it's been great because Blacked Out was a three-piece for a long time. And then Lee joined. And then because Lee also writes and he's a better singer than me and he's a better guitar player than me, he really elevated the band. I don't know if you went back and listened to any of the old Blacked Out stuff that's out there, but it is not nearly as good as the recent
Well,
album.
my producer actually showed me, and I somehow missed like the whole Serena album and stuff. Like, and then
Yeah,
he showed me earlier today when we were trying to set up my internet, and I was like, "How the hell did I miss this?" And I'm like, I even searched them a couple times, and I don't. It's good. God knows what I did because I'm just not tech worthy whatsoever.
yeah. I mean, I like that album, but we were still trying to like figure our way. I was still kind of just learning how to write songs, and
Yeah, and
I
no,
don't
it's
know.
not bad, man, by any means, man. Like, definitely,
Thanks,
like,
man.
but no, like, you can definitely like the next, you know what I mean? You can definitely see you guys just,
Yeah.
yeah,
So Blacked Out's like, that's like my baby, but I also play guitar in a band called ATD that it's a little more like straightforward like punk rock than Blacked Out's pretty like skate punky kind of
yeah,
stuff. So ATD and I don't sing or anything. ATD was like already an established band. I actually just joined a little bit before. I think I've played 2 gigs with ATD, but I've been in the band for like a year and a half now. But I already knew all the guys, and it's been a good fit. So we're writing some new tunes. So we have like a new record ready to record as well. Um, I also play guitar in a very old Bay Area punk band called The Authorities.
I-
Um, they're famous for songs like I Hate Cops and Radiation Masturbation are there too. And yeah, I've been playing guitar for The Authorities for years. The Authorities doesn't really they don't really do a ton. So I've played a handful of gigs. We toured California a few years ago, and that was a lot of fun. And then I played guitar for Bishop's Green for a couple of years, and Bishop's Green's like a pretty established band, and
mhm.
so I joined that band, and like a month later, I was on stage in like Bogota, Colombia, and like you know playing my first like shows outside of North America,
Yeah.
and toured Europe twice with them, and so yeah. But these days, I mean, I'm not in Bishop's Green anymore. Blacked Out and ATD are like my two like main bands, and then the Authorities. Like I said, I'm still in the Authorities. It's the Authorities doesn't really do a whole lot, so
Right. I
yeah, it's
just
pretty
how
pretty
do you
low
manage
commitment.
your time, man?
um, I mean, it's kind of just communication, and a lot of
Yeah.
times it's just ATD doesn't jam a ton. Everybody's schedules are pretty like you know change a lot.
Mhm.
Some people work out of town and stuff, and so ATD just sort of like wedge the jams in where we can. Um, Blacked Out again, of course, when we were able to jam. Um, Blacked Out, we're all, we all live in the city here, and so we just have like a one night a week regular jam, and try and squeeze another one in here and there when we can, and then when we have shows or tours or whatever coming up, then we kind of jam a bit more. But we just kind of every Wednesday is band practice night, and then
Yeah.
I squeeze in an ATD jam once or twice a month whenever we can make it work. And I don't know, I do spend a lot of time just playing guitar here at home, and so whenever I write anything whatever band it sort of feels like, I'll fire it off to the
Yeah.
guys and say like, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" So
Well,
I
no,
don't know.
that's kinda cool for you too, because I mean, you can you know what I mean, leaves you to go different directions yourself, you know what I mean? Like
Totally, totally. I really, I love playing in ATD, and same with Vicious Green, because with Blacked Out, I've always been tied to a microphone,
mhm,
and in those bands, I'm just on stage and I don't have to sing
and
very
it's
often,
a
and so
big
I can just get
difference,
to like
man.
roam around and show
Yeah.
off, basically.
Yeah, no, and, like, I sang in a I sang in a couple bands, but I also just played bass in a couple bands, and, like, the difference of, not being tied to that microphone is huge, man.
Yeah, it's a totally different experience. Like, when you're the lead singer, you kind of have to step on stage, and you know that like all eyes are going to be on you. And you're the one that has to like sort of control the pace of the show, and
Yeah.
if the energy starts lagging, like nobody else is picking it up. It's you who has to like sort of get people like
Yep.
keep people interested and whatever. But and that's quite a lot of pressure. It's a lot of work. And so to be in another band, to have like another experience where I just get to like, you know, just jerk around and
Yeah, and jam, like yeah.
you know, it's not my problem. Just go back
Right.
over to my app and like slam a beer or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even have to remember the words, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
No,
fun. It's a lot of
y
fun.
yeah, man, I just got a new bass and stuff like that. I am trying, like, when this breaks, I wanna start another band again. I miss it so much, like, especially talking with all you guys and stuff like that lately, it's just been, like, eating at me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to. I don't remember the last time in my life when I wasn't sort of like part of a band and working towards something. I honestly would. I It's like such a major part of my identity. I feel like I would just poof, like in
Y
the,
y
like
yeah,
just disappear into you know cease to
no
exist or whatever.
yeah, no, and, like, I totally get it, like, I don't know, I'm this big, like, collector, I collect, like, I have the biggest Game of Thrones collection probably, like,
Right on.
yeah, like, but it's like, I don't know, like, ever since the last couple months, like, I stopped doing that and, like, started doing this, and like I said, I hadn't played actually, I joined a country band, like, 4 years ago because I wanted to play
Yeah,
bass that bad, and dude, we are in, like, Central Pennsylvania,
yeah.
like, punk rock is an unheard of thing here, so, like, when we had a punk rock band, I'd had to play 3 hours of punk rock music to fill a bar, like, to
Yeah,
to get, like, shows, so, like, you can imagine how difficult that would have been in tiring 3-hour sets, it was
yeah. Black Date used to do that. We
Did you?
we used to well because we used to tour Alberta and BC. I don't know how familiar you are with the Canadian
I know
lay of the land, but it's
well,
like
listen,
there's
I
the
know
big cities,
Alberta
and then there's just these butt fuck nowhere towns that are just, and so we'd play these like little places, and there's no local bands to be openers or whatever, but cities are hundreds of kilometers apart from each other, and so you just kind of you take a gig in a small town. There's going to be no other band, you have to do 3 sets or something like that,
Yep.
and you're like trying to just getting up and doing a punk rock set, or you kind of leave it all on the table, and then you go take a break, and then you have to get back on stage, and it's almost like you just have to start a new show again.
Yeah, 3 different
And
times.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What we used to do is we do like a set, a short set at the beginning, just to kind of
Yeah.
feel like we walk on stage, punch everybody in the face, and then take a little break before the energy starts to lag, and then get up and do another set, and then just get up and play a bunch of covers, then just play stuff that people like, because by that point they're all drunk and they just want to sing along to something they know anyway.
You got it, man.
Then at the end you collect money, and up here at least, a lot of those towns too, the only bar in town is also like the hotel, and so there's your hotel rooms are just upstairs.
We have one like that here too.
Right on.
Yeah.
Those shows are super fun. They're super fun. But yeah, play a set. Don't even worry about like loading your gear out, because you're gonna come back downstairs for breakfast
It's
in the same bar that you played
Yep, and it's all gonna be sitting right there just as you left it,
anyway.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's wild. Wow, I thought, wow, that's crazy. There's other ones out there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Western Canada's full of those.
Yeah, this is like the only one I know really of around, like even, probably in a 100-mile radius of here. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, but that's like 7 miles from here, man. And I have definitely spent some time in there. The one year there was different owners then, and they're like, yeah, you play, we split a show with another band and you play, we'll give you a free room. They neglected to tell us there was no heat in this room. It was a New Year's Eve show. So
Yeah,
needless to say, we looked like a ska band in there because there were 16 of us in one room just trying to keep warm.
yeah. That's
Ridiculous.
hilarious.
Yeah, it was
We
great.
uh we used to play. Oh, hi, sorry. There's a number of animals in my
That's
house here, and so you're gonna hear cats and
That's okay.
dogs.
Animals
Oh,
and cats and dogs are great.
of course. Um, yeah, we used to play this place in a town called Golden, BC. That was called the Roadhouse, and they would have. It was the only bar in town that also had strippers. So when they had bands, it would be like stripper, band, and then so in between every band sets, they would come out and like screw the stripper pole into the stage and then unscrew it again and remove it for the next band. So while you're setting up, they're like,
Get the hell
and
out
then
of here.
yeah, man, yeah. And that's not the only place that we played that did that, but that
No
was
kid,
the
I've
we
never
played
heard
there
of
a
that.
whole lot. Yeah, Golden. I don't think it's a bar anymore. It was called the Roadhouse. I don't think it's that was yeah like 10 years ago, but
Dude, that's crazy. I have never heard of that in my life. Like
oh
that
yeah,
is wild.
yeah. Like I've definitely slipped on stage on like baby oil, like yeah.
That's something else. I just can't. Even Nick's over here laughing. Like, man, like that's just like,
We played in a we played another in a bar in a town called Rocky Mountain House, which is like it's not even between Calgary and Edmonton. It's you go like halfway and then you head west for like another hour or something. Like you're out in the middle of nowhere. And there it was the same deal, stripper band. But there was also this is like middle of farm country, and so there was a giant like tractor just on stage, like it was just like a prop, like a John Deere tractor.
dude, that was so fly
uh,
here.
Dude, I just remember like walking in, and all of us were like, "Who the fuck booked this show?" Which, of course, it was me. So the boys were
You
laughing
guys
at
played
me.
Rawhide for 3 hours, didn't you?
Yeah, over and over and over again.
Wow, man. That's a good one. A tractor on stage.
Yeah, yeah,
I dude, that would like I said, that would totally fly here. Like, no, like you wouldn't nobody would even question it. Like,
yeah. You could still smoke in bars at that point too. Like in that in Alberta, they never did like a provincial wide smoking ban in bars. It
mhm.
was like up to the municipality. So of course, all like the small towns were like, we don't care. And so I just remember being on stage and it was so smoky and like going up and putting my leg up, the cheesy like monitor stand, only it was on a tractor and like in between lines, like coughing because it's so smoky. And I was just like, where am
Yeah,
I?
and this is crazy because I only smoke when I do these interviews. Like I don't
Okay.
smoke cigarettes at all unless I do these interviews, and I don't know if it's nerves, whatever. But like we've played like in clubs here, like you know what I mean, like an Elks club or we have a Lithuanian club, a Slovak club, stuff like that. You can
Yeah.
still smoke in those places, and it's the
Okay.
same deal, man. Yeah, like you're basically fighting through smoke screen by the, you know what I mean? Like you wonder at times if anybody can even see you. Like it's so thick in there.
Yeah.
It's just
That's one of those things in Europe, you can still smoke everywhere. And it was so weird going over there the first time I toured Europe because I'm so used to performing in a bar where there's no smoke and then playing like really, I played a few like pretty small, like, you know, jam packed punk rock clubs or whatever. And there's 100 people all smoking at once. And it gets to you after on stage after a while, your chest starts hurting.
oh, dude,
And
dude, and I don't like I said, and I quit. Like I do, and like this is the only time. And like I said, I don't know if it's nerve. And when I smell it, I hate it. It's whatever. And like even when I
yeah,
go out
yeah,
of here, I'm just like ugh. But when I'm sitting here, it's just like I need to smoke a cigarette now, and I don't know
that's
what it is.
fair.
Yeah,
That's
it's
fair.
but like
Yeah.
once a week, I don't think it's gonna. I don't know. It's way better than what I was doing. But, like, but since stopping, like you said, the difference in, like, how much, like, it hits you in the face is just, like, I can't believe, like, I used to smell like that all the time even, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah. It's like
Every time I quit smoking, I remember there'd always be like this like 2 week period where all of a sudden you realize that you can smell everything that's around you. Like you'll smell like a rose bush or something, and you're like, what the hell?
mhm. Yeah. And, like, the taste of things all of a sudden come back?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you realize that you were like heavily oversalting all your food, or
Really, really bad.
yeah, yeah. Like you're like, oh god, this is terrible. This is what I would normally be doing, but now that I don't smoke.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And what a oh, man, smoking was, like, the worst thing ever too, like, what a horrible habit to pick up. Like, to battle
I,
on and off over the years, just I don't know. I've had my battles,
for
but
yeah, for me, it just turned into like a just why,
well,
just
that's kinda
like I'm like, why am I doing why, you know?
yeah, and I got real sick with ammonia and stuff one time, and there was spots on my lungs, and they didn't know what it was for a couple months, and it freaked me out, and that's kinda where I was just like, "Alright, that's it." And, like,
Yeah.
up until, like, we started doing this, I was just like, "Give me a couple cigarettes before we start just in case I freak out." So,
Gotta
that's what
calm
they're
those
here.
nerves.
Yeah, but otherwise like, I can even go in bars and stuff now, and it doesn't even bother me, but I don't know, I bet you I haven't drank in a year, like, just that I don't know, you get older and that life just goes away, you know?
It's kind of what happens. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
because you know, all of a sudden the hangovers from a half hour go to 3 days, like
Man, I was a bartender for a long time, and I like, you know, and I always sort of gravitated toward bars where it was like encouraged that you partied with the customers kind of thing, and you know, just the whole lifestyle. And that bar actually closed. The last bar that I worked at, I worked there for like 9 years or whatever. It closed down, and I remember like locking the doors, and my party lifestyle just like I just everything just completely changed. It wasn't like I partied lots until that day, and then I just kind of stopped. And it wasn't because I told myself I need to stop or I have to make this like drastic change. It was just like I just got older, my life circumstances sort of changed, and all of
yeah,
a sudden, and now if I have like a glass of wine or something, I'm like, oh Jesus,
oh,
I
you and
don't
me
go
both, man.
here.
You and me both, it hits me right in the face, like, I just yeah. But now and like you saying about shutting it like, closing the door last time, you were kinda like, I don't know, in a sense, closing the door on that chapter in your life, you know what I mean? A way good way to look at it
Yeah,
even.
like I said, it wasn't like a conscious thing. I
No,
wasn't
but like
thinking like now my life is totally different, but it happened that way for sure.
right.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, and sometimes, like, things just work out that way where there's just a point, you know what I mean, where you can look back and say, "Yeah, that's where that changed," like,
yeah,
because that's
yeah,
the whole hospital thing, that's where my whole life just turned around, you know what I mean? I was a fucking mess before that, like, on
oh yeah.
drugs, doing yeah, whatever, and I got out of that situation, and I was like, "Alright, I gotta get my shit together," so
Sometimes it's just
yeah.
it's like a change of scenery or a big event or whatever. Something just switches, and then all of a sudden you go, I don't want to do that. I need something more or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that last hangover too was like, you know, I drank on a think Friday and I was going into Wednesday still feeling like crap and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good on this, like, for the rest of my life. Like, never again."
Yeah, yeah, fair.
Yeah. So, you guys said you have, oh, blah, blah, blah. Can't get it out. Dates booked for October, correct?
Yeah. So our release tour that was supposed to be with Belvedere.
Mhm.
So we have a couple of shows with Belvedere rebooked. We have Vancouver booked and Victoria booked, and then I think we're just kind of waiting to see how everything goes before everything else before we rebook the rest of the tour kind of thing.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah, but yeah, October is kind of looking like that's the next time we get back in the saddle, so to speak.
Well, good, man. I hope all goes well and everything, like, passes through and,
Yeah,
you know, whatnot, you get back to doing your thing because I know how it is not doing it, and it sucks.
yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. Well, yeah. The plan is like hopefully just in the fall we'll do that tour, and then I had mentioned that I wanted to get back, that I wanted to go to Europe with Blacked Out um, before, and then of course that didn't happen. And so when I was talking to our booking agent that I think is going to book us over there, I said, "Hey, as soon as COVID's done, like we want to get over there. Like we have this record that we dropped with, that we weren't able to play any shows, and we'll have something new by then." And he was just like, "Man, it's like every nobody's been working." He's like, every single festival and every show is going to be like an entire lineup of who would normally headline festivals.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know if I can get you too many like worthwhile gigs for the first like little while. So I think for us it'll be like 2021 the fall, we'll get back up and running here in Canada kind of thing, and then 2022 is probably when we're actually going to be,
Yeah.
you
And
know, fully functional band again.
yeah, and that's a fair assessment too, because even in the fall here, man, that really only gives everybody 2 months of anything here. You know what I mean? Like with our seasons
Yeah.
and stuff too. Like it's you literally have September, October, and November and December is too cold for anything outside or traveling really, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everything's really geared toward 2022 here too, realistically.
Yeah, I
You
think
know?
that's just kind of like what the industry is like.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
been
hey,
for us, I don't even know if we're like a C level, D level band or whatever. Like every festival slot is going to be taken up by bigger bands for the first while anyway. So we're just gonna roll with the punches,
well, just
get
keep
over there
going,
where we
man,
can.
because yeah, keep going because you guys sound fucking great. Like no joke. Like.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for coming on the show, dude, and bearing with all the, technical difficulties and yada,
No
yada, yada.
worries, man. Thanks for having me, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And check out where can we find you? Like Facebook, all that.
All of our social media, the Instagram and Facebook and stuff, is just Blacked Out Band.
Okay.
At Instagram or Facebook / Blacked Out Band or whatever. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. ATD is same thing.
Same.
I think it's just /ATD, or some of it is actually ATD stands for a total disappointment.
Well, awesome.
And so if it's not under ATD, you can usually find stuff under like a total disappointment. So
Cool, man. Yeah, so definitely
yeah,
good.
and here let me plug. This is my partner's band, Alien Boys. I
Cool.
definitely recommend you check them out. Um, they're an awesome band, and my wife is the singer, and
I'll
it's good. It's good punk rock.
I'll check it out, man. I'll check it out tonight for
Right
sure.
on,
Well,
right
dude,
on.
thanks again for coming on.
No worries, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. And like once again, check out Blacked Out. Thanks, Morgan. We'll catch you soon, man.
All right, later.
Later, buddy. That was Morgan Farrell from Blacked Out and ATD. Make sure you go check them out. Awesome, awesome stuff. Like I said, it just gave me this like, wanting to smash shit in a room vibe. Good stuff. But until next time, you know the drill. You buy the ticket, you take the ride.